Call the roll, please.
Alba,
Here.
Carol,
Here.
Fenderline,
Here.
Horton is absent. Jackson. Here. White
Here.
and Brown.
Here. Quorum declared. Is anybody here for public comments not directly tied to an agenda item? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the April 4th meeting.
I move we approve the minutes of the April 4th meeting.
Second? Second, Jeremy, by voice vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Moving right on to new business. Paul Orzeski, owner and applicant of 201 North High Street. Discussion and possible action on new construction up there. You are Mr. Orzeski?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here this evening. We purchased the vacant property, the 201 Elk Street, formerly the St. Mary's Playground. And we purchased with the intent to develop new single-family homes. I'm talking with Jonathan, and given the certain legal restrictions, we are looking at zoning restrictions. We're looking at a 4-unit development. Since this unit development is within the landmark district, it's going to be obviously in compliance with any historical landmark location requirements. And we're looking at having 4 separate single-family, roughly 2,600 square foot, 2-story with garage units facing north on to Franklin. Material is going to be an LP siding. Colors will be in compliance with the historic district paint colors, which are Sherwin-Williams. Will be a siding, 8-inch base siding, 4 inches on the top. The front will have board and batten. The roofs will be standing seam on the main house and around the roof of the main house, and on the entry front entry. The plan was kind of going back to a north is up. Plan is going back to a pocket community where there's a common area that faces north to Franklin. We are bringing the land based on conversation with the zoning board. We're bringing the actual buildable land back something like 5 feet off the actual property line. So we have a 2-tier retaining wall. All will have all will be constructed of a limestone, local limestone. There'll be a common area in front, open to all 4 units. There will be a pergola or an area to the east. We're thinking about constructing that would be over here. And then the automobile access will be off of High Street. We'll be off of High Street on the south side of the property. We're still working with the city on the configuration of the access based on the final design for High Street at this point, because where we are currently, that is part of High Street that is not paved. So we'll have to get some type of final design criteria from the city. We're looking at the homes are going to be 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 2-car garage, internal of each home. That's basically it.
So the project completely contingent on getting High Street repaved and reused now as a through road?
A section of High Street, the north section, where Elk Street intersects High Street. There's going to have to be some type of connection where we can actually get onto our property. We don't have to go the full length of High Street. I say full length, the portion of High Street that's not paved. We don't have to do all of that. We just have to provide a 25-foot curb cut for access to our property.
So you're saying you don't have to go down to Franklin?
No,
So emergency vehicles have to go up on the hill and come down to your property?
correct.
They'll never make it a Dodge Street.
Well, I don't, it's not our jurisdiction.
I know, but it won't.
I don't believe for a second they would allow that.
Well, again, I'm just going on based on what we need access for our property. And I agree with you. There's going to have some type, if there's a large piece of fire equipment that has to come up or to the property, it's got to come up front. But again, that's up to the city, how the city wants to progress with High Street.
I noted that you were a tax purchaser for St. Mary's School.
Yes,
What is your intention with that?
we are looking to convert that into a B&B.
Is that in conjunction with this property or is that a second phase and how?
No, they're all two separate properties. Two separate properties, two separate developments, not in conjunction, aside from the same people. Timeframes may overlap, probably will overlap, but there's two separate entities as far as development.
So I can see how you think they're separate and it's absolutely fair that you think so, but we're the Historic Commission and we're a lot more concerned about St. Mary's School than you perhaps are. How does your project limit the options with respect to St. Mary's School?
This project here,
Yes.
it doesn't limit anything.
So the only time we've ever had a viable prospect for St. Mary's School, it required the use of this lot right here that you're proposing to build 4 residential units on. That's the only time we've ever had one. And of course, the neighborhood rejected it. What makes you think it's so irrelevant now?
The vacant lot as it regard and relates to St. Mary's. We talked with the city where we can actually get off-street parking in front of Old St. Mary's for that particular use. And then with the single-family homes, we're providing 2 parking spaces per unit internal of each home. So yes, they're across the street from one another, but they're not necessarily relying on one another for parking.
Are these homes going to be HOAs?
Pardon?
Are they going to be HOA?
Yes, there'll be a condominium HOA.
Okay, so the person buys a house and then and pays the HOA fee.
Correct.
Okay.
Is there any other homes anywhere near these 4 that are relatively new construction and modern in appearance?
Not that I'm aware of. Actually, there's one on, I believe on Dodge, close to 20. I think it's Dodge.
Shattuck's house. Like the White House? Yeah.
Yeah, it's white. Gordon Batten.
Are the financials of this project contingent upon this level of density?
Yes. I mean, it could be a single family home. Obviously, the financials are reduced because we're only building a single unit. But as of right now, we would like to have 5 units, but that would have been a PUD, so we tailed it back to 4 units, so it fits within the current zoning.
So if I were to say to you that we have at least a couple of obvious situations in town where we have modern homes in places that they don't belong. And I speak as one vote on this board, but I can say that there isn't a whole lot of interest in creating more of those situations. But our interest would rise if we thought it necessarily caused St. Mary's School to be restored. How would you answer that?
St. Mary's is going to be restored, so again, this necessarily doesn't have any effect, at least in our perspective, of anything to do with St. Mary's, except proximity.
So if I said that wasn't our perspective, would that change anything you have to say?
You're gonna have to explain that a little more detail to me.
This board might be more tolerant of some new construction in that spot if we knew for sure St. Mary's School was gonna be restored. Without it, I haven't any idea why we would want this.
The intent is to restore St. Mary's after this is completed, or at least within the construction timeframe. The thought there is, if we're in the process of trying to get people to stay at the new bed and breakfast, necessarily they're not going to want to be across the street from the construction site. And also as to the access to that construction site, if we can't get up from Franklin, we're going to have to access from Ella. That's right in front of St. Mary's. So again, I can only tell you the intent. The intent is to restore St. Mary's, or adaptive reuse, at least internally, and then restore the building envelope.
What did the other commissioners think about this?
I'm just, it's such a, you have Franklin Street here, you got Elk Street, and very historic houses, nothing really new anywhere. And it's such a condensed area, and then we're sticking, these houses that don't, how do I say, it? I don't think are historic looking.
Yeah, they're, in my opinion, they're a little too much, look like shotgun houses. Which are a little too much. I mean, maybe if they were redesigned a little bit. But you're still gonna have to open up High Street to make this thing,
What about the density?
it's,
What's to be done with,
the four houses is
Pretty dense.
pretty tense.
What do you think, Jack? You're the king of St. Mary's.
what's to be done with St. Mary's, school?
Well, other than a reference to it becoming a B and B, in terms of plans and whatnot, we haven't seen anything.
Don't you think that we would need to know more about that, in conjunction with this? When we
To say, I mean,
That's how I feel. Mr. Orzeski feels those are completely separate and we should be able to make those decisions independently. I'm not gonna make the decision independently, but you guys are all welcome.
I feel like Jack does, so we did know a little bit more about St. Mary's. And does this really have direct preservation value of that?
That's how I feel about it, but I'm only one vote.
I think that this design looked more like the Horton houses over on the east side, right below where you're working. There's three that are alike.
Yeah.
I think it would blend in because they were all built real early. If you know the Horton house,
I'm not sure what you're saying.
Okay.
That you wish these houses were over there, that those houses were.
No, I said if they looked like the Horton
Oh,
house.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
And you're saying that that's okay, that would be good?
Well, it's more his.
Yeah, they're more historically
It's
correct,
the, yeah, I mean, they were
which are
built,
simpler.
they were
than
built,
these.
Yeah,
These are more craftsmen to me, where the houses that he's talking about are much simpler.
yeah, I think it's got nice porches on them.
Yeah.
On Park Avenue there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's three of them, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
One
Three in
had
a row.
stuck, or had stucco on it, they took it off and.
Give me the address. What are you talking?
505 Park Avenue, Amelia's house.
Oh, okay.
Those three houses,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
They're all the same.
Which would look nice up here.
Yeah.
But I think to make a decision, we need to be more aware of the whole property use. Because that was our concern, was the school preservation.
My opinion exactly. That's my opinion exactly. I don't know why the historic commission would approve any plan that didn't involve the restoration of St. Mary's School.
I'm not really sure why that's brought before us at this point. without having a plan for St. Mary's.
I don't get a vote, but I'm gonna give you my opinion. What if this wasn't Paul? What if it was completely separate owner? Owned this parcel, didn't own St. Mary's? How could you tie them together then? I'm in the opinion that these are completely separate parcels, completely separate projects. I'm not telling you one way or another, I'm not telling you you have to like these houses or anything like that. But I'm in the opinion that these are separate projects. These are completely separate.
But if
I understand what you're saying, but these have this parcel, like I could own this parcel. And what you guys are saying is you can't build a house here because the school's not gonna get restored.
We said you can't build these three houses unless you say, I understand your point of view. I don't agree with it at all.
Okay, then that's fine.
I mean, I get
That's what I said. I don't
exactly
get a
what you're
vote, but I don't
saying.
get a vote.
If you owned one and he owned the other,
Yeah.
I would just simply reject this and
Sure.
move on.
Sure.
But
You're not building one, you're building four.
I agree with Craig.
I understand.
If these were built in a different style, I would be a little more apt to pass them.
And I agree with,
I don't think they're in the style that should be present, because they're gonna be highly
Well,
visible.
what I'm saying has nothing to do with style of houses.
I think we,
And or how many of the houses.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that what's happening here
Your view
is
is
completely separate from what's happening across High Street.
I think, we have-
I couldn't be more clear. I've been a lawyer for
I know.
several decades.
I think that these, they gotta stand in their own merit.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, and I just don't think they're the right design for that area.
And I agree with that.
And it wouldn't take
I
much
don't
to
think-
change them to do that, because they're so simple that it's, goes over.
You're making it even, in my opinion, less expensive, because you're making them
Yeah.
less decorative than what they are in this.
So you're looking at having a cleaner elevation, front elevation, or maybe there's no distinction in the planes at the front, they're just flat. Material wise, smart siding, you're for or against that? I mean, I'm looking at 505 Park Avenue, there were a couple other addresses that I didn't catch it, maybe
Have you know where we're talking about?
at 505 Park Avenue.
505, 507, and 519.
I know Park Avenue, I don't know the specific buildings, but
Yeah, they can be popped up on the screen.
I can get it here, hold on. What's it?
Next to it.
Yeah, they're all.
505?
Ish.
Mm-hmm. 505.
Stop screen sharing. Okay. That,
No, I have a network connection.
well, that's not handy at all.
No, but I can get it. I think.
Lost everything.
Yeah, I took it down
Oh, did you?
intentionally.
Mhm. Can you bring it up?
Try.
If not, I can get a historic picture of it. I'll get a historic picture. Okay. Search.
There's some free over here.
So the point I want to make, it would be analogous, for example, to the Marine Hospital. If you were to separate the Parker project and say, we're going to build this whole thing and we're going to leave the Marine Hospital as a separate lot that we're not going to do anything with. You have so limited now what you can do at the Marine Hospital. No one's ever going to have any interest economically in restoring. So with that particular project, the owner was smart enough to combine them and say, we'll do this and this at the same time. And that's my concern, is we are limiting.
You're limiting the value of that.
You're limiting the value of St. Mary's School and the various things you can do with it, despite how many times I have to hear they're separate lots and separate. You're limiting what our board cares about, which is the restoration of that school.
The middle one there is the original look. The other two, the porches have been changed. But they were all built by the same gentleman and all the same time.
so the board is more interested in a look of these middle building as opposed to what we're proposing. So
Yeah.
we're pulling off the front porch. We're reducing the amount of glazing on the front of the building. And, again, we're keeping, for the most part, that front elevation flat as opposed to a multi-layer type of elevation. Now, is the board as concerned on the north side or the side that is up against Elk Street, the upper Elk Street, where
Where the garages are?
the garages are? Now, obviously, if the front elevation changes, this is gonna change somewhat, but if we're having a balcony out on the backside of the building, is that concerning? Now, the only people who are gonna be seeing this is people who are driving and parking their cars, because the topography from Elk Street east of High Street, you're gonna be seeing the top gables of the homes, nothing much below them. Because most of those elevations, except for the one adjacent to High Street, you'll see the rear elevation or the north elevation. And then for that matter, on High Street, the punch out with the window seat that you see there, is that something that's of concern? Does that need to be removed?
I personally don't have a problem with that. I think the back should be more simplified like the front, because these look more like Swiss Alps.
They look like chalets.
Yeah.
I think they should be more miner's cottage, because this would have been a poor area. These would have been, it wouldn't have been this nice.
They would have been simpler houses.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you could, I mean, I don't mind the garage there,
but yeah,
you know, it's,
you're not gonna really see the garage from the elevation of the
No.
road. But
I think
I
the,
just don't think this design is fitting for
Doesn't match
that
everything
area.
I
else.
think the construction of the front should, and the back should match, except, you know, except for, of course, the garage.
It's really actually simplifying it
Yeah,
to me, in my
I
opinion,
agree, it's simplifying, I just want to make sure I'm understanding what the board is looking at in design.
I like the bay windows. I think that they look nice, but I think the backs and the front should be simplified.
I think the bay windows, again, I don't mind bay windows, but the design there looks Swiss to me.
So the board and batten and the,
Yeah, and I call it
Decorative.
bricky brack hanging
You
down.
still agree?
Yeah,
okay,
just simplify it.
but going back to the original question, I'm just looking here, and again, because Jonathan and I are speaking on, have spoken on this. These are two different entities. Now, if they were tied together legally as a PUD, I don't know how we're gonna do financing to get this completed. It can be a phase one and a phase two, but ultimately they're different investors, different construction, different type of housing, if you will. So I'm not sure how this can be all wrapped into
I'm-
one, and it would have, I would assume, Jonathan, it would have to be a PUD then? Even though that we came back down.
Just to be clear, we never said it had to be wrapped into one. We said we want to know what's going on with the St. Mary's School.
Okay,
At least some votes on this board you're not going to get unless we know what's happening with the St. Mary's School. That would be a better way to put it. They don't need to be wrapped
okay,
together.
then now I understand. So to bring this back, the revisions for the homes at 201, I'm gonna have to make a presentation, at least for the skin and the site plan of St. Mary's.
We would want to understand in particular, yes, the exterior restoration and usage of the St. Mary's School.
And I think these are two separate projects, and I just want this project to be correct. Then I'll worry about St. Mary's School. That's just my opinion. I mean, if I agree with Jonathan, I owned it and Jeremy owned the other one. You're not gonna tie them together. You're either gonna approve both, one separately and the other one separately. And technically what you're doing, even though you own both of them, they're separate parcels, separate legal descriptions and everything. So to me, that's
Not
the way it
really.
goes. But I just want to simplify the houses so they fit into the area they're in.
Okay, I understand.
And obviously, I summarily disagree with Craig. It limits what happens to the St. Mary's School way too much if you try to separate them. And I don't know, I do agree with the style issue, but I think there's a density issue I'm not terribly comfortable with either. I think 4 units is too many for that spot. But I will remind you, I'm one vote, and not one that's terribly eager about this at this point, as you can probably tell.
What is there, 14 feet between them?
What density would you be in agreement with?
No.
3 would be a lot better.
Visual.
I think there's 14 feet between them.
Let's go back to site plan review.
I would feel more comfortable if we matched anything else.
That would be about what my house is, my neighbor. Plenty too much to cut through this.
I- Maybe in simplified form, it would look better.
I'd like to make a motion if I'm allowed to.
You are allowed to.
Okay, well, I didn't know if you were done yet, so. Anyway, I'd like to deny this and have you bring it back with a simplified plan for those houses.
Simplified elevations.
Look, yeah,
I'll second.
Is there further discussion? Without coming back with a restoration plan for St. Mary's School, I'm not interested in this motion, but you guys can be.
I agree with you.
It's got to come back with a restoration plan for St. Mary's.
And on restoration plan, that's site plan and 4 elevations. Because the interior design,
Is outside of our jurisdiction.
well, that's just gonna take longer.
Right,
That's just an exterior plan.
right. But I have a motion and a second. Sue, call the roll.
Carol,
Yes.
Fenderline,
Abstain.
Jackson,
Yes.
White,
No,
Cobble,
yes.
Brown.
No. I'm not sure what to tell you other than come back with the simplified version with a full board. You may or may not see a 3-2 vote.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the next item, the Historic Preservation Award. We have a nomination that looks remarkably like one of the homes of one of our commissioners.
Who's gonna have to abstain?
I guess first and foremost, is there other nominations anybody's noticed throughout the year? Obviously, our permit inspector probably has the best view of this
I
stuff.
can't think anything was done.
A
Finished.
lot of stuff worked on, but not done.
Yeah, a couple on Park Avenue eventually, when they're done. One Jeremy's working
Up on top
on,
of
one
your-
across the street from Jeremy,
One up on top of your street.
one on here, one on, there's a couple on
Couple on
Dewey.
Dewey.
I mean, there's things happening.
that's scary.
There's nothing completely done.
What's on gear?
Except John, except for, yeah,
What's on gear?
Did I say here?
It's a gear.
there is one in you.
707.
Yeah. It's not in the historic district, but all the way at the top.
Okay.
That little miner's cottage on the top of the hill. between
Oh,
Cattle Bluff.
tiny little one.
Yeah.
But she's gonna do it, put it back like it's original.
Do we want to, vote tonight and do it, or do you want to, does everybody want another month to look around and see if Jonathan missed something?
I don't think you missed anything.
I went around after he told me that this one was on there.
I looked around, I didn't see anything.
I mean, Walmart did a great job.
That's what I'm gonna-
Up against Walmart.
Yeah, you can't find anything. Boy, does it look.
It looks good.
If the school would have, school in Deer Street would took down their porch, we might have.
If you guys want to do a motion right now, you are welcome to do it.
Who's making the motion?
I'm not allowed, so leave me out of it.
I can make a motion to approve it.
Let's see the rest.
That'd be, what's the?
We want the 2024 Historic Preservation Award to go to, what's the address? Meeker something?
407 help us out here.
Maker.
407 Meeker with an unknown owner. So there's a motion. Is there a second? Second from Jack. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please, Sue.
Fennerline,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
White,
Yeah,
Bubba,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes. Motion carries, and we only have to give out one plate this year, Jonathan.
thank you.
All right, I would,
I move we adjourn.
is there a second that we adjourn?
Gee, I could have driven to that.
Does anybody want to second Craig's motion? We adjourn.
Sure.
Judy seconds it by voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
You deserve it. That thing is nice.
Thank
it
you.
is very.
Yes.
Thank you. It needed help.
But I just want to know how many people are gonna jump off the front.